Good evening, teacher and classmates. For tonight, I'm going to share my second oral presentation. This is going to be about transgenic food and products, or GMO, genetic modified organisms, as they are known. This is a controversial topic, but at the end, I want you to have your own conclusions about if it is good or not so good for humanity. First, I want to mention that transgenic foods are products that have been produced from an organism that has been modified by genetic engineering or GE. The agricultural revolution refers to the changes through this history, like using fertilizers from livestock, dikes, drill, and crop rotation. This revolution improved people's health and also producing more food. But tonight I'm going to base on genetic engineering in agriculture. Global food production must increase. Why? Because world population is increasing every year. For example, 2 billion since 1927 and 7 billion in 2011. That's why people said we need food now and there's a pressure on the production system. Some of the history of genetic modification can start 10,000 years ago, with the agriculture, basic agriculture. Late 1800s, there was some kind of interchange or cross with different plants. But especially in 1990, there was the first food approved by the FDA from GMO. It was tomato, and some others since that year, like corn, papaya, and many others. What is genetic engineering? This is the process of manipulating and transferring instructions carried by genes from one cell to another. And please pay attention to this. Why do scientists want to change gene instructions? For basically three reasons: to produce needed chemicals, carry out useful processes, and also to give an organism desired characteristics. In this image, you can see that genetic material is isolated to a target gene and is mixed to a plant tissue in growth medium. So we have a plant with new trait, altering or modifying an organism genes so that it features characteristics or behavior change. As a consequence, different genes of another organism have been incorporated with a clear objective: to produce certain desired characteristics that I'm going to mention or explain a little more. For example, people have inserted genes into crops to make the crops resistant or poisonous to pets but are harmless to humans, at least is what we think. As you can see in this image, when the pests die after eating the part of the plant. Another example is in corn. You can see that corn has genes from many other species, for two purposes especially: pest resistant and herbicide resistance. It means that the plant cannot be eaten by a pest and is not affected to herbicides. Example is very important to keep in mind because corn has many uses that I'm going to mention later, and it is made or designed for these purposes. Another example is the Roundup Ready corn. As I mentioned before, it has tolerance to some type of herbicide named Roundup, which was made from Monsanto company. Another example is golden rice because it needs vitamin A, and this is already out of the market. You can find it anymore. Golden rice. As you know, ripening process is part of the nature, and there's something there with the GMO. It can be changed and make it longer. In a world, in the world, we can see there was 44.2 thousand hectares, and it was back in 2000. But now it's a lot of more of that than three times that it was 20 years ago. So it's still growing. Where these products come from? Well, from many countries. America, for example, USA, Brazil, Argentina, and Canada. These, like USA, produce around the 40% of GMOs, Brazil 26, and so on. In this image, you can see that 9% of the corn it comes from United States, 30% from Brazil, and so on. But keep in mind the corn. Here you can see some of the GMOs that you can find in the market. For example, tomato, I already mentioned, cotton, that you can get oil from it, the rice, but it's not yet in the market. Sweet corn, maybe the most important, sugar beet, you can get sugar as substitute from sugar cane, summer squash, and salmon. Those I can mention. As you can see here, the genetic traits expressed in GMOs are drought tolerance and enhanced omega 3 content, herbicide tolerance, disease tolerance, and even insect resistance, which I already explained. Well, for this reason, there's something going on around the world. Maybe not here in Costa Rica, but in some countries, people uh, express a protest. They say that we have a right to stop GMO. Monsanto is a monopoly, also they say, and we want to know if we having a GMO. As you can see, Monsanto is making a lot of money. So this is a big business for them, and they are a powerful company. Some people call it Mount Satan because they produce what they call Frankenfood. As I mentioned before, corn you can get is one of the GMOs, and you can get high fructose corn syrup or HFCS. They have a lot of dangerous for is dangerous for health. They with weight gain, type 2 diabetes, hypertension, high blood pressure, and many others. But where can you find this type of ingredient? Well, here is one of it. Maybe you can recognize this. You can recognize it, and once again, I can mention many dangers for health, like bad cholesterol, high blood pressure, iron deficiency, and many others. Well, the question is, can you recognize and one of this? Well, if you label it, it is going to be possible. But if you don't, as you can see here, we have two potatoes, and how can you recognize one of them? It's impossible. What's the difference between these tomatoes? Well, it's not possible to know because you have to keep an eye on DNA. And it's not possible to label it like this, of course. You can have a sticker or something to help the consumers to recognize it. Well, now you can decide for yourself if GMOs are good or not. So that's me for today. I hope you enjoy it and get your useful information. Thank you very much.